28th, 2025, we're going to call the Gaming Authority meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Lana Cosley Smith.
Here.
Rob McGrory. Michael McCurchie.
Here.
Larry Barbeau.
Here.
Sean Borowitz. Kimberly Lee. Bridget Sorensen. Here. Aaron Paymont.
Here.
Isaac McKechnie.
Here.
Kimberly Hampton. Kimberly Gravel.
Here.
Tyler LaPlante. Austin Lowe's. Have a quorum.
Okay, on the agenda, we got business, minutes from 9/25/25, meeting minutes, interim appointment, continuation, CFO, adjourn to executive session for interim CFO updates, reconvene and reaffirm, other and adjourn. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Motion. Got a motion and support? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from 9/25/25?
Motion.
Got a motion and support? All in favor?
Excuse me 1 minute. You go fast too.
You said you wanted out by 4. Now you're telling me to slow down.
I didn't think I was absent then. I wasn't absent. I'm sorry. It says, yeah. It says I'm there, not present for roll call, but I thought I was on Zoom that day.
From September, you just weren't present in the room when we did roll call. That's how we record it in every 7
got
minutes.
you. Okay,
So
got
you're
you.
noted as present, just not present at time of roll call.
Okay, perfect. Thank
Okay, we got a motion and support. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Interim appointment, continuation, CFO.
Reading the resolution.
Who is reading it?
Tim Hampton usually would.
She's not on. I can read it. There's somebody.
Yeah?
I didn't want
Would
to
you?
put this out to you guys, but the rules say that I'm supposed to if nobody else
Oh.
does. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
And you want to read the results, right?
Yeah.
The very first one. Be it resolved that the Kuwaitan Gaming Authority hereby extends the interim appointment of Mr. William Connolly as the Kuwaitan Chief Financial Officer for a period of 3 months pursuant to the interim appointment policy, and be it finally resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately.
Can I get a motion to amend? Shouldn't we do it for 6 months? I mean, we haven't did interviews.
Motion to amend to 6 months.
We're doing interviews Thursday, which
Yeah,
is
but-
why we only put it to
But if
past.
it's,
Okay.
Kim,
Will you be here after 3 months?
Yes.
Okay.
there you go.
Lana.
So this is on the amendment. Hard to get out. Is there any questions?
Oops.
So we got a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Back to the original resolution. Any questions for the team? Got a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Sorry, Bill, I just don't.
That was close.
Bill, sorry, I didn't want to extend it, but it just makes more sense. Yeah, you almost got out. No Florida for you.
Yeah, really.
Okay, we need a motion to go to the executive session for CFO updates. Got a motion? Got a motion and support? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Shut the cameras off. manager, yes.
Like manager on the casino floor or the hotel?
Hotel manager.
Okay,
I mean, verbally abusive.
okay.
And they wanted to file a complaint, but then they knew they would probably lose their job, so.
They're not going to lose their jobs.
And it's been about, I think this is the fourth person I've heard it from.
I'll have Diane jump into that department, HR, and do a little looking around and look-see.
Yeah.
Because I know since we've had HR, they've been involved in a lot of different scenarios that pop up.
Hey, guys, do we need to go into close if we're talking personnel issues here?
I didn't say no names. Well, yeah. I'm done.
I was on record.
Lana?
I just have two questions. The one is, and it's financial, it's a financial question. It probably can wait until it's about the restaurant. So we're back to not getting any real kind of,
You want to go into close?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I just got a couple
Need
questions.
a
yeah.
motion, go into close.
Can we do it without objection?
Yeah,
Yeah.
can we just do it without
Yep.
objection? No objection? Okay.
Okay,
These guys are back out again.
sorry. Oh, yeah. Are we off?
Adjourn. Support. Got a motion and support. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Thank yous. Want to take a 5-minute break? HR policy reviews.
All set?
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so we have 4 policies to review today. The first one I have up that we have made some edits to is the overtime and comp time policy. The first thing that we're changing on all of these is just the formatting so that they all start looking exactly the same. So this one does look a little different than the original, but a lot of the wording is the same. It's just cleaner with different, like the purpose, scope, policy, things like that are all uniform for each policy going forward. One change up in the scope is that this is applying to governmental. Most places where it referred to casino or just all entities is now going to consistently try to state governmental, because we're only approving for governmental going forward. So everything else through this policy is all the same as it was. And then when you get down to this number 3, under comp time, this is the biggest change that we're trying to change, is that in the original policy, it said a team member may not accumulate more than 240 hours. And it never, the last sentence here, that it should be used within 2 weeks of the date of accumulation, there was no time frame as to when people had to use them. So team members were accumulating quite a few hours, maybe, 3 months, 4 months ago, and then using them in whole blocks taken off months at a time in the future dates, because there was no time frames on them. Number 4 says that when they leave, they have to, they're only being paid out that 20 hours, because technically you should only be accumulating 20 hours. And then the last sentence is added on, saying that if you transfer, you can't take your comp time with you. You need to use it before you transfer into your position. So those are the main changes that we're trying to encourage to change here.
They are.
Okay.
Aaron?
So could we, I don't know if we would put it here or someplace else, but in the ideal, we want people to use the time that they have coming. And I think it's poor planning if managers are not setting it that time ahead of time. Like reaching out to people and saying, okay, you've got so many hours to take this year for vacation, when would you take them? And then we end up with comp time. So how can we change the practice so that we don't end up having to pay out vacation time? How can we change our practice so that managers are compelling people to plan ahead and schedule their time off?
So ideally, I'm pretty sure ADP will fix this when we get the new system. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that they have a way to track comp time. So if it's tracked, they can be held more accountable for it, because then, everybody will be able to see it. Somehow, I'm sure there would be a way to let directors or supervisors know, this needs to be used by a set time. I'm not positive how ADP works, but I'm pretty sure that this is going to be able to be resolved through ADP. Right now, how we're doing it is people are just tracking it in a spreadsheet. So it's 100% up to their supervisor when they're collecting it, how many hours, the whole 9 yards. It is literally 100% on them in a spreadsheet. There's nowhere else that holds them accountable for it.
When we used to do performance appraisals, we would put in the performance appraisal all the different training that they had to take, and we tracked it all that way. And now looking back, because with ADP, it's going to be easier, but we did all that manually. But it seems like if we ever get back to annual appraisals, or if managers are meeting regularly with their direct reports, that they're asking them on a routine basis, when are you planning on taking your time? So that we don't get in a situation where we have to do payouts, so.
Kim?
If I remember correctly, when I worked at the Bureau, you had to use your comp time within 30 days, if I'm remembering correctly. Does that sound right? Just, you worked for state, didn't you, Sean? I think that was the same for them, too.
And why we did 2 weeks is just because then maybe it would be in the same pay period. Maybe they accrued the comp time Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of that beginning of that pay period, and they could use it within that time frame. That's kind of the concept. I mean, that portion could be within 30 days.
The only bad part is they usually get in comp time because we're shorthanded.
I think a lot of the time is more for like events. Like, I notice it a lot around powwows, and also during the summer for when like programs are doing sleepover, like camping, things like that accumulate a lot of hours in a short period of time.
So instead of 2 weeks, why wouldn't you do 2 pay periods? So if
That's up to, yeah, we can change
so
that.
if it was on the last day of the first pay period, they wouldn't be able to take it till the next period anyways, right?
Right, yeah.
So that might be a better,
I can say within 30 days, even to just give them a little bit of, there's nothing in policy right now that says any date, so any date is better than what we did have currently.
and we do have a choice on payouts. The board can decide whether they want to pay or not pay. If you don't pay, then you're forcing them to take their vacation or lose it. Well, honestly, a manager should know when they're, I mean, every manager should know how many vacation hours they have, and it should be scheduled accordingly for the whole year of that business or that entity. But when was the last time we ever asked the managers if they were doing that?
That's why I'm saying maybe we need something in policy to mandate it. So, because
Or maybe we just don't, if a manager has employees that gets a payout, then the manager don't get the payout.
I remember when I got my first vacation payout, because I never ever took time off, I was like, what is this? Because it was huge. And that's when we used to give the 100% of the payout.
This is a little bit different though, because this is hours worked. So we wouldn't be able to hold, you'd have to legally pay them for their hours worked though.
Yeah.
So this is a smidge bit different than vacation payout.
Yeah.
So like if somebody happened to have 20 hours, say they worked a powwow yesterday and they accumulated 20 hours, but then they put in their notice.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different.
Keep going.
So that's everything on comp time. So if, this is went through PRG and everything. So if everybody's good with it, how it's written, I'll just change that to say within 30 days instead of 2 weeks.
I think that gives them a little bit of leeway.
All right. All right, so the next one is the introductory period. Same thing for, oh, hold on, wrong one. Same thing for the formatting, we're just cleaning it up, making it have the same look as all the other policies that we're creating. And then the scope is also, this one's just implying that it's just for the governmental team members again.
Okay.
And the only thing that different that this one's changing, it is a significant change, it just doesn't reflect on here because it's being removed from the policy, is that there's a sentence in the old one that states, any team member who has completed the introductory period in a position and transfers to another position with no break in service shall be deemed to have completed the introductory period in that position for purposes of the due process and appeal policy. So right now, if you transfer into a position, you are considered that you have completed your introductory period, and HR and PRG agree that we would rather, when somebody transfers into a new position, that they are now in a 90 or 180-day introductory period. They still are able to keep their sick and vacation and all that, but they're considered introductory.
Aaron?
So, all right, so this gets back to, and I know I have an issue with the way that we're interpreting policy. If they're applying for the new position, that's not really a transfer. I mean, it's kind of like, procedurally, it might seem like it's a transfer, but if they're applying for a new position, then the new manager should have the opportunity to evaluate and assess them based on their performance as a new team member. So that's, I don't know, I think we need clarity on transfer, because sometimes we choose to interpret it as a transfer, sometimes we don't. But if they're applying, if it's an internal posting, maybe that is a transfer. But if it's not, it's a new position. So why wouldn't they then start over under introductory?
So I don't know how long this goes back, but I don't know, Jessica, if you have any idea, but as far as I know, I don't think anybody has ever interpreted it that way. It's the opposite, that they do not go into an introductory period.
See that, I think if somebody is transferred for retention or in certain, circumstances like downsizing workforce or whatever, that's different. But we don't want to hamstring the new supervisor from being able to supervise somebody and, just magically now they're post, especially if they didn't finish. Are you saying if they finish the first introductory, then they transfer?
Yes.
Oh, so I do still think that the new manager should be able to assess and evaluate someone's performance in their new position, because it's a new position. It's not really a
And
transfer.
that's what removing, this is changing that so that it would read that way. And so a little bit of an example is, some supervisors don't want to hire an internal transfer because they do not have the capability of having a 90-day introductory period with them right now. So they almost have to risk it with taking them because they're, I don't want to say stuck with them, but essentially they're stuck with them if they don't perform well because they're not in an introductory period. So that's what we're trying to change so that anybody that transfers, gets into a new position is considered a transfer or a introductory period. Yes.
Bridget?
So is it, can we assume that based on this legislative history on here, that it must have been modified at some point? Because when I worked in HR, anybody that transferred did, they didn't necessarily have, when it came to an appeal, they just had the probation in that position because they are starting a new position, and that way the employer could see how they worked with that new position. But it didn't restrain it as far as an appeal because they weren't necessarily new to the company, but it was new to the position. So that used to be the case. So that's the way I'm understanding you're saying we need to right to go back to, but I don't know when we went away from that because it used to be that way.
I'm unsure of when it was as well, but I do know that for quite some time, this is how it's been interpreted.
Aaron?
So there's more than just the appeal, though. There's eligibility to take vacation or sick, and, I mean, a whole number of things when you're introductory. So I would be supportive of not restarting the clock with respect to being able to take vacation or sick, but we'd have to change the policy, I think, to do that. So I think it might be just a practice where when people, I don't even like to use the term transfer because it's not really a transfer. If you're posting and you're applying for a position, you're in a new position. So the new manager should be able to, hold you as a introductory team member. I think you're on your best behavior during your introductory period. You perform probably the best you're ever going to perform, right? It's all downhill after introductory. But so I think that the way you're saying it, though, will reset the clock so that they start from the day that they start the new job, they are treated as an introductory. So the one exception I think we've done in the past, and I don't know if we did it by policy or if we just directed it from this table, was accumulation of time. Years of service.
Right.
So Ash, wouldn't it be just every new position, our new position to the job, right? Wouldn't that be the same thing, though? Like,
Yeah, so I think
I mean, forget about the transfer.
I think I'm guessing that, I think where the
The
word transfer
employee
is coming
that's been
from.
here for 10 years applies for this job over there, whether you call it a transfer, but it's a new position for that employee.
Right, and that's this is what I'm saying, I
It's the
think,
position that should have the introductory
right,
period.
yes, so when.
Not the employee.
Right, but so when, like in J.D. Edwards right now, when you want to essentially move this person into their new position, it's considered a transfer. Otherwise, if you don't do it that way, they're losing all of their sick and vacation. So I'm not sure if that's where the word transfer got confused, and because you're being entered as a transfer, it could be, like I said, I'm unsure of exactly when all this changed, but that is one way to look at it, that maybe that's where the word transfer got transferred.
Oh, something just popped into my head. So I know that we allow people, because I remember this, if the new supervisor has the prerogative to accept the accumulated vacation and sick, if they have it budgeted. Because the other problem with treating them as transfers is you're burdening the new employer, the new supervisor, department, with all of that accumulated, previously. So it seems like we should close out your previous employment when we reopen your new employment and not burden the new supervisor. And you, like you said earlier, with the introductory period, that they don't have any, they have less of an ability to coach their behavior if they don't have an introductory period, so.
Mike?
Oh,
I didn't even see you.
Would this apply to promotions then too, then if we're saying new position altogether?
Yes, right,
So
any
if
new
someone, if
position.
someone in a department gets promoted and it's not working out, which I agree, if it's not working out, it's not working out. But are they going to get demoted back to the position that they had before? Maybe it's filled already, so they take that risk of applying for it, and I get that, but I guess I'm a little more, maybe Jet, I could see this being abused too, because I have concerns there that, hey, you're getting promoted, and now I got you in an introductory period, I can just let you go. Boom, and there's no protections whatsoever. So I guess no protections to me is a little concerning in that aspect. So I don't know what the answer is. I agree, though, that positions need introductory periods because for whatever reason they just don't work out. I'm just concerned with the abuse part. And hopefully we don't even have to cross that bridge. But at the same token, usually if there's any wiggle room, someone abuses it. So I just have that concern.
Kim, you get 2 turns because you waited so long.
So when they leave the position they're in and go to the new one, do they resign?
Yes, and they do that
Then
now.
it's like they are, they term them. So then they're done. So then they are accepting a new position. So it's like cut and dried,
Well,
really.
we don't term them, that's where that transfer term I was saying comes in, we transfer them into the new role. But
Yeah.
the person does give a resignation notice. So they are resigning from their position, but for a paper trail, we don't term them, we transfer
On
them.
the form, it
That's
has
the JD
transfer.
Edwards.
Yes.
Okay.
On the PAF, it has a transfer box.
Yep. And she said that's where that JD Edwards comes in.
Do you have anything else?
Huh?
You get a second turn, do you got
I just did.
anything
No, I'm good.
else? Aaron?
So that's where where this gets so confusing with terminate, or with transfer and, what is a promotion? I mean,
I would say that nobody really gets a promotion. If the job's posted, they would apply for it and have to go through the same exact process. They would have to apply for it and go, so really, I don't know if anybody ever would actually get a promotion. If there was an in-house posting, but you're still applying for
yeah,
it.
so I know we've been back and forth on this, and it depends on how loudly a certain person who, it's a friend of mine, who comes to the board and says we should have a promotion policy. And I think where we've always leaned is that all positions are posted.
Yes.
We post all positions, so it's not really ever a promotion.
Right.
Unless it's an internal posting, and a manager does have the discretion to do an internal posting. I think we should not ever do internal postings, that's my opinion, but it does allow for internal postings now. But even then, it's still a new hire.
Yes.
So I think that we should probably move away from the terms promotion, because the double-edged sword with the promotion idea is that while, we've got people that are loyal to us, they worked for us for many, many years, if there's a qualified tribal member applicant out there, they should get a crack at it. Everybody should get an opportunity to apply. And if we're circumventing or skirting opportunity by transferring or promoting or 3-day internal postings or whatever, you're limiting your scope and you're limiting your talent pool. And if they do have the education and experience and longevity, they'll be a competitor.
Right.
So that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I think the internal postings for 5 days?
3,
3 now?
yes. 3. I don't think you get I think it's just 3. I know it's 3. I just don't know if you might have the ability for 5, but pretty sure it's just 3.
Okay, keep going.
So that's everything on introductory. Anything else that was on there was just procedural, so same thing as similar, we're just, for formatting purposes, removing any procedures from the policies. So that's everything for that one. Okay, and then the next one is acting and interim. This one was only ever called interim prior. So same thing, it's just for governmental. And then we define, in this one, we define the difference between acting, interim, and a couple other words we're defining in here. So acting appointment, the best way to describe it is when a manager or supervisor is on some sort of leave of absence. So they are still working there, they just need somebody to cover for them, maybe maternity leave, something like that. That's acting. And then the interim is the position is vacant, and somebody is covering the whole entire shift. They're not, there's nobody in that position. And then also on A here, there was never a definition of time frame, so we're putting in at least 30 days, no longer than 6 months there. And then in the policy, everything is also the same, aside different formatting. And then here's where we change it so that both of them read the same, but it's the minimum range of the vacant position or 25% increase, whichever is greater.
What's the difference between acting and interim then?
The acting one is when somebody's on like a leave of absence. And then the interim is if there's no one in the position at all.
So in the past, we've not done adjustments for people that were acting, only interim. I mean, in the past, we did, the administration had the authority to do a 5% adjustment for interim, but not acting. Acting in the past has been, I think, abused to some extent too, where you just tack it onto somebody's responsibilities and you don't give them any compensation. And I don't know if we were even doing PAFs to reassign temporary supervision. Interim was different because we did PAFs, and it also on the PAF included the adjustment, the 5% adjustment. So the idea, I think, unless I'm wrong, the idea of a additional compensation for acting is not something we've done.
So I was just in an acting role, and I had additional compensation for my acting role as senior attorney.
But I think that's
You
because
got to
it came
pay
to this
that back
table.
because it's not in policy.
It did come to this table for
Josh.
Josh.
Hold on, to get clarity on that.
So
That's different because it came to this table.
That did come to this table, and I asked you to majority vote on that. And our policies currently as written do say it may include a salary adjustment. So there's the ability to do for acting a salary adjustment, which is why when we did that, because of the workload in legal, I came to this board and asked for that.
Wait, I'm not done yet. So the other piece then is, I think with acting and interim, well, for interim mostly, those would come back here because people don't budget for the interim or the acting adjustment. That's not in anybody's budget. And our current policy for wage and salary requires board action if there's anything that changes. So these could be correctly stated as long as they give deference to the board appropriations policy, because a manager doesn't have the authority to give an interim or an acting internal adjustment without a board action. Because that's governed by the board budget document 001 or whatever it's called these days. So the alternative would be, you could build into every budget, an interim or acting amount, which I don't think the board will support, or you could build a overall budget for interim and acting that management could do an internal mod and draw from those funds. So, but I'm not
But
sure. if the board
Aaron,
would
for
support
the
that.
interim though, that person is taking that position while the other person, there's nobody in that other position, right? So they're going to have a savings within their budget.
But it still doesn't authorize it. And if you look at all of the different interims we've just done, we've also taken action when we do those to appropriate the funds to do
I
so.
think we have, the last four, we
I
did it.
just pulled up 4 resolutions that are titled acting appointments, and every single one of them had a 5% adjustment in
Yeah,
it.
so we take the action, and so I'm not, unless we're delegating this administratively, I think it can be stated the way it is, with the understanding that it still requires board action for the appropriations.
But any adjustments to their budget has to come back to us. So if they're going to take money to move it somewhere else in their budget, it has to come back to us.
Yeah, as long as this, in the statement of this policy, makes it clear, this is not a one and done, because we're all sitting around the table right now and we know what we remember and we know what we understand, but what if a manager doesn't, and then they go ahead and give an adjustment, they don't have any authority to do so? That would be misappropriation of funds and termination.
And down below here, under section B is compensation. And there is this, like, number 3 says administrative budget mod may be required for acting or interim appointments made in accordance with this policy. Executive approval is needed for administrative budget mods that affect changes in team member wages and job titles, so.
See, but that, again, is clarifying that the administration has the authority to go ahead and do it without coming to the board. An administrative budget mod doesn't come to the board.
Right, okay.
Mike?
I think we need a larger discussion about administrative budgets and what isn't and what isn't. So I'm okay with the language put in here, and then we just have that broader discussion of what administrative budgets are needed to come back. But my question would be under the acting, not the interim, because interim's different, but when you do an acting one, or actually, I guess with the intern too, if we're doing a 6-month cap, but then we add another 6 months at the end of it because we still haven't filled it, or we're still running in, there's an issue in that. How are those going to, like, it's just going to continue? So technically, someone could get put into an acting position. The manager just appoints them as acting, never comes to this body. We may not even know about it. And then that person gets acting again, 6 months. And so is there, I see you have the policy, but what about covering that second? Like, is it restricted to just twice, or hey, no, it's restricted to just this 1 6 month, and there will be no reappointment, there isn't one. So it's right now it's just one. So you could interpret that as just one, but then I don't want a manager to have the ability to just reappoint somebody again at the end of that 6 months, and then they're really just keeping somebody in an acting position, and they're not addressing getting that position filled, or whatever the problem may be that the other person's out. So my concern would be that aspect is that, yes, the policy says one, but I don't want that, again, I guess, go back to abuse. I don't want somebody to be able to just reappoint. So I think second, if they're going to have to reappoint, I think there should be a mechanism in place that kicks it to somebody else's attention and say, hey, this is their second 6 month or whatever. So, and we recently had to do it here at this table. So it is something that comes up. It's something that we need to address, but this policy doesn't cover that. So I just wanted to make sure that.
So section C under timeframe this sentence might do it for you. It was added on, it says, any request for extension beyond these guidelines must be submitted in writing to the approval level prior to expiration and must include justification for the extension.
Okay.
And right before it does say 6 months in parentheses.
So
We could define approval
I
level
guess writing to the
better.
approval, what is approval level, I guess, at that point would be. So,
So under another policy, we had discussed, I think it's the next one for the one we discussed last workshop. So
executive
approval
chair.
level is defined as any of the key employees that oversee the different divisions within the governmental side.
okay, so it's covered. Thank you.
So maybe we'll just add that onto the definition on this one.
No, it's on here. It's under definitions. I just didn't read it that way.
Oh, yes, it is, yes.
Yep, so if you go back and put it all together, it makes sense. So, thank you.
Keep going, Ash.
Let's see where I left off. And then also the section D, the appointee rights, that was all added. That's all just added verbiage that was not on the original one. I'm trying to see what's different on it. Disciplinary actions, just saying that, if you pretty much have to follow the exact same thing that you already were doing. An appointee may be returned to their former position at any time for any reason deemed necessary. And then while where temporary appointments are made to fill a vacancy or new position, that they are still actively trying to fill that position. So that's everything on that one. Good on that one then?
Yep.
the last one is transfer policy. So same thing, all the formatting's changed to match the other ones. This one's just for governmental as well. The other policy didn't have definitions, so they're defining transfer in here. D, that's already in there. So this sentence in section E, if a transferred team member has already completed an introductory period with no break in service, they'll be considered introductory in the new position. So this one is a new sentence to reflect the changes in the original introductory period one, so that it matches saying that you will be in an introductory period if you're a transfer.
Why do we have a statement of a transfer policy at all? Is it just like a carryover from the past or something?
I believe
can
it's so
keep
that you
their-
can keep all your own
Sick time.
sick and vacation and all that.
401K,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
So you don't have to have a break in insurance and things like that.
So I guess I don't have a problem with that as long as we limit it to that.
And then also this sentence here, this 6 months. We don't let people transfer if they have been in their position for 6 months or less without permission by the supervisor or human resources.
See, when we ran an article in the paper when Josh was hired, we called it a transfer. He applied for the position. The position was posted, he applied for it. He didn't sneak in, he didn't get preference, he did, none of that. He was hired. So I think we should get away from, unless there's so the only reason for the transfer is the opportunity to carry forward your vacation and sick accumulation in your years of
Insurance
service.
too is kind of, an important thing for people. They don't want to stop their insurance and then have to wait for.
401K.
Yeah, and 401K.
Fringe benefits.
Oh,
Yes.
I see.
So as soon as you consider them a new hire, they have to stop all of that.
So what if we could clarify the transfer policy is limited to these purposes? Because over time, it just gets muddied, and people start interpreting it like it's a transfer, and it isn't a transfer. Right, and I like the fact that we are providing so that there is no break in service, so we don't have to start the clock again for, for benefits and stuff like that.
But Aaron, it is a transfer of benefits. That's it.
So but maybe we changed it to transfer of benefit policy. And then that would help because it would get away from this notion that it's, you're transferring from one department to another, because you're not, you're applying for it.
I agree.
Yeah. And I think we should get rid of internal postings entirely, so.
Any other questions on the transfer benefits policy? Mike?
Just a quick one on the F. This isn't going to change anybody that's in current positions that don't have benefits that don't match the current structure, right? This isn't going to change any of the things that got changed last year when we did some switching around and benefits followed those people. This isn't going to trump that and those benefits change those
No,
benefits.
this wouldn't, no, all
I
this
just
would
want to
do
make
is,
sure we're on the same page. I didn't think it did.
all this would
but
do is going
whenever we-
forward,
Yep,
say
from this point
you
forward.
transferred into a new position, you start an introductory period.
I just wanted to make sure that that was the case. I thought that was, but I just wanted to say it out loud.
Is that it, Ash?
Yep, that's everyone.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Those will be on the next meeting.
Yes, except for that last one, I think that I probably will bring that back to PRG then if we're going to look at it being a transfer of benefits, changing up the wording, we could bring it to
Slow, doesn't
PRG
it?
again.
Makes sense, so they can't.
Yeah, well, I'll see with Josh if he
Yeah.
wants
Bring
to
it
go
back
back to
to them.
PRG or not.
Thank you.
Thank you, we're making headway, like we haven't for the last 7 or 8 years.
It was all of child welfare.
Yep, and Jennifer, I believe, is leading it, so.
Do you just want to take a 10-minute break or move right in?
Let's get her going.
Yeah, one of those.
Well, no break then. Jennifer, whenever you're ready, we're ready.
Your workshop packet has all the attachments in it, please.
I get extra credit if I'm on time with my operations of the meeting, so you got to make it short and sweet.
Is there
We're
an
ready.
order that these are in the packet already,
I
or?
put them numerical.
Okay.
When it was seated. So 30.306A.
Yep.
She's OCD like me.
Okay,
Whenever you're ready.
sounds good. So we're bringing 4 pieces of proposed code changes today, sponsored by the Child Welfare Committee, so affecting the Child Welfare Code. The first one that we're bringing forward is adding a definition. It would be 30.306A, adding best interest of the child as a definition to the Child Welfare Code. The current Chapter 30 references but doesn't define best interest of the child. And the new proposed language would define the factors that the tribal court should consider when determining best interest of the child in child welfare cases. Several Sioux Tribe appellate court decisions have noted this lack of a definition and have asked for the creation of a definition. So by adding this section, we would no longer have to look at outside sources for how we define best interest of the child. It would be defined within our own code. So the code we created is loosely based on the best interests of the child for the state of Michigan, the factors that are there, just with some minor changes. The main change or difference from the state best interest of the child definition would be L, which considers the capacity and disposition of the parties involved to instill the child with Sioux Tribe culture and values, and secondarily, other Native American culture and values through the customary child rearing practices of the Sioux Tribe. That is obviously not in the state definition, so.
Darren?
I'm grateful for that because we've had placements in the past with non-native extended family that can't provide that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and the best interest of the child should be determined by us.
Should be defined, though. That's what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yes.
It shouldn't be this way this time, this way another time.
Any other questions? Mike?
Yep.
I'm glad these are all on here. I have concern with just one.
Okay.
And it's about probably of how you would weigh it towards the others. Because by itself, it's H, the homeschool and community record of the child. I have concerns with that, though, because just because they got a really good home and a really good school and a really good community, that shouldn't be overshadow the love aspect or something of a community of the care. So when I see that on here, but I did some time on child welfare, so that was always one of those contentious things that, hey, just because someone has a better home doesn't mean that they're going to give the best care for a child. So this isn't weighted, so it's something that the Child Welfare Committee will have to just weigh at an individual basis. But when I see that, I do have concerns, so I just wanted to note the concern, and if that was the best language in there, then that's the best language we got. So, but I did want to, I guess, state that out loud as well.
And just to note, the best interest of the child doesn't only come into play for placement. It also comes into play when we are making determinations regarding removals and termination of parental rights. So that one is in there because I think it plays more into the other applications of the definition, more so than perhaps the placement definition.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we can move on to 30-1203.
So 30.1203 would be adding a board liaison alternate position to the Child Welfare Committee to ensure that the Board of Directors always has representation and presence at the Child Welfare Committee in the event the designated board liaison is unable to attend the monthly meeting for any reason. So we have just added that position. throughout the already existing language regarding the board liaison.
No, they just sat on it.
And if I could add something, this came about before, when I was chair, excuse me. It was kind of Rob and Mike's, who've both been on quite a long time and are currently on, that they would like to see this, to be more consistent with the board voice on the Child Welfare Committee.
Aaron?
I think it's good, but I think we also need to, if you're out of practice, or if you're the alternate and you never get the experience, then you come in cold and you're not ready. So maybe there needs to be some ongoing training, or maybe the alternates attend all cases, so.
So here, in there, it says they're allowed to attend all meetings. They're not a voting member unless the liaison is not there. Also, the other change is, as of right now, it's one-year terms, a consecutive of 3. That doesn't quite happen like that, as Mike can attest to. So we changed it to the tenure of their seat and be reappointed if they're reelected. For more consistency, because as we know, some of these cases, Isaac knows, Mike knows, can go a long time.
Yeah. Any other questions? No, great. We're moving right along. Huh? So now you want to do 30.336, parent?
Yes. This is the definition of parent under the Child Welfare Code. We would like to amend this definition to include step-parent and live-together partner of the child. As currently written, parent does not explicitly cover these two adults who could be a person responsible for the child's health or welfare. So unfortunately, as written, we are not able to add these individuals as a respondent to a child welfare case, which means the court cannot take jurisdiction over them, and it also means they cannot be given a case service plan in the context of a child welfare case to work and improve. The state of Michigan does currently allow step-parents and live-together partners to be named as respondents. And given the fact that these cases can transfer from state court into tribal court, this would also allow more consistency between who could be named a respondent in a case, regardless of which jurisdiction it's in.
Aaron?
So my only question about that is not in the case of step, well, maybe step. Is step when they're married to somebody new? Okay, so then there's a legal thing. But if they're partners, just for partners, is there a way to establish principal parentage and secondary parentage? Or, because I don't want to get in the middle of, our policy setting that somebody who they can't commit to, I don't know what the right term is, ends up with some parental rights that override the principal person. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Talking about.
I believe so. We wouldn't be conferring rights upon that individual. It's basically allowing us to name non-parent adults in the home as respondents in a case, so that all the adults in the home who could be responsible for caring for this child could be held responsible in the event of abuse or neglect, and could be asked to take education, could be asked to work a case service plan, those kind of things. It also takes a little bit of the onus off in the case, unfortunately, if there is, say, a domestic violence dynamic, where we're not just looking at the one parent to say, your sole responsibility is to keep the children safe from your live-together partner, without us being able to work with the live-together partner at all.
Okay.
This allows us to work with both parents in the home, or both adults in the home.
Any other questions? Great, thank you. Moving right along. 3602.
So 3602 would be a reworking of our foster care and permanency placement preferences. Basically, this is very much a rewrite of the current way the policy defines the foster care and adoption placement preferences, by differentiating between when a child is being placed in foster care and when a child has reached a point in the case where we're looking at permanency. Because there are different considerations that come into cases at those points in time for instance, the goal with the parents. You know, a lot of times we're forced not to consider certain family members or those kind of things because of their proximity to the case. So we want to make sure that whether it's the state looking at our code on how they're going to apply the preferences in accordance with ICWA and MIFPA, or if it's our own tribal court, that there needs to be another diligent search for relatives. We need to evaluate the placement preferences when the goal changes from something, say, from reunification to a more permanent option. And just kind of hopefully clarifies with a real focus on family and tribal placements.
Any questions? Seeing none? That's it, right? So you're going to have these on the agenda for the next meeting?
I believe that's the plan, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your hard work. We appreciate it. And thanks for being on super time.
Glad
So
to
I
help.
watched it on YouTube and you guys are running a little bit ahead, so I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Jennifer Constantino.
Oh.
Jennifer, do you know everybody? We'll just go around and introduce ourselves and John.
Yes.
Hi, Kimberly Lee, Unit 2.
Hi, Larry Barbeau, Unit 4.
I'm on it.
Isaac McKechnie, Unit 1.
I'm Haza Smith. This is the first time I've seen you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Michael McCarthy, Unit 1.
Kim Gravel, Unit 1.
Anybody
Nice to meet
online want
everybody.
to introduce themselves?
Bridget Sorensen, Unit 3.
That's it.
Kimberly Hinton, Unit 4.
I'm sorry, Jen, that's my bad. I'm just so used to it, I always hear that, I thought maybe you already knew everyone. But this is our ICW attorney, this is Jen Constantino, she does a great job, and now you all got to meet her.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't mind.
Tish, can I ask you a question not related to child welfare?
Depends on the question.
BIA. How we doing? You seeing properties go or into trust or no?
There is nobody in the real estate office. I do have a few sitting ready, should be accepted as soon as they open back up.
Okay. But they're still moving once they're in the office. Oh, good, good. Okay, thank you.
Actually, the transition from local to regional was pretty good.
There was, eh?
There were some bumps, but all in all, it was pretty well. And actually, the gentleman that I work with at regional actually came out and had a
And you still owe me a list of all the properties in trust.
There's a whole other discussion going on with
Yeah.
everybody about who, what, where, and properties
Yeah.
we have, and I'm working on it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it is.
She is, yes, she's part of the next discussion too, so.
So moving right along, 2%. We got to go on the closed, right?
Yeah, this needs to be closed.
Oh, something's going on.
I'll go sit up front with Tish, just not alone.